So Bungie just released a Dev Insights Prismatic deep dive article, and I definitely want to look into this. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to do like initial reactions and initial impressions and stuff like that. Obviously, I do a lot of build crafting on my channel, so I just want to see what their deep dive on Prismatic is going to be. And I want to see kind of how we think it's going to change the game. So, we don't need to go over kind of the lore behind it, in my opinion. I don't care a ton about that type of stuff. I just care about like how it actually works when we're playing. So, welcome to Prismatic. Let's go ahead and take another look at this. Turn that volume down about halfway. Pull this up. So, right out the gates, Radiant Dodge, Ice Shuriken, Gunpowder Gamble. And then we saw from the live stream, they all have their special moves, right? When they activate the prismatic mode. So the hunters do the little knife spin, warlocks like cross their hands or whatever, and the titans just do like the punch. So right when we see the knife spin, that's when we know that it's going into prismatic mode. What's interesting to me though is that even though they're not in prismatic mode yet, if that makes sense, they still have access to all different abilities. So there's their Radiant Dodge, there's the Shuriken, they went invisible, there's the Gunpowder Gamble. But it looks like when they enter Prismatic mode, if you look at their grenade in the bottom left, it turns pink. That's like the combo grenade where it's like one ability, it's like a 2-in-1, it does a light thing and a dark thing. So let's see when they throw it. That looks like a trip mine. So it's a solar trip mine grenade, but it's also doing like a cyclone of stasis, it looks like, I think, as far as I can tell. And then it turned into a cyclone of fire as well. So there it is again. It's like a not a vortex grenade. It's like a spike grenade. That's also, it's like a spike grenade but stasis. It's kind of what it looks like. And so there's the preview, and hopefully some of all of this stuff is going to be showing us a little bit more of what is actually going on here, what's going to be capable, what's all feasible. So, for the first time, players will be able to wield the powers of light and darkness simultaneously. As we know, as we've seen from the stuff, you can get combinations of abilities. So they're going to give us an overview, including the suite of abilities available, how we can expand our capabilities, all the unique gameplay it brings. So, Prismatic subclass is familiar, but with a twist. Your super, melee, grenade, and aspect slots will feature a selection of light and darkness abilities from all 5 damage types. You can also select from all available movement modes and class abilities, including the subclass-specific ones, such as Phoenix Dive, Acrobat's Dodge, and Thruster. I love that we're basically going to get Thruster. It's like my favorite Titan ability. I don't care much for the barricades too much as a PvE player, so I love Thruster. So I like that we're going to be able to use that with a bunch of more different combos other than just being able to use it on Arc right now. Our main goal for Prismatic is to enable new and interesting build crafting combinations that lead to new types of gameplay so that we can keep the game feeling fresh, which I think is absolutely going to keep the game feeling fresh. I was saying when we saw this revealed to us initially on Tuesday that this is a Destiny 3-esque change. This is going to revolutionize in the game that is genuinely going to make it feel so completely unfathomably different than it has ever felt before. This is one of the most monumental changes we're ever going to have to Destiny. Mark my words. As part of this, some of the abilities we've chosen are ones that we think have been underused since their initial release, which, so I like the way that they're approaching this. They're looking at the suite of abilities that are across all 5 subclasses, and they're kind of like, okay, we feel like these ones, they're good, but maybe they're not as good as some of their alternatives. Obviously, Bungie understands what I like to call the opportunity cost of build crafting. Sure, you can have something that's good, but if there's something that's amazing that occupies the same slot, you're never going to go with the thing that's good over the thing that's amazing. So I like that they're kind of using Prismatic as a way to combine less utilized stuff and make it into stuff that's actually worth using. So in many cases, we've adjusted how certain aspects function to specifically enable these unique interactions. With Prismatic, we want to make an immediate impact. From the very first mission of Final Shape, you'll have access to a complete starting Prismatic build with a set of light and darkness abilities, aspects, and a full set of fragments. Let's dive into the details of what these starting builds have to offer. So right out the gate, we have this Hunter image. We see Prismatic Hunter up here, and we see they have the Silence and Squall Super. Transcendence, which if I recall correctly from the reveal stream, Transcendence is when you have all of the light damage done on the bar and all of the dark damage done on the bar, and it gets to the pink part. And that's what allows you to go ahead and start using these like crossover, completely unique abilities. If we look at everything else, it looks like in the melee slot, we have Withering Blade from Stasis. It looks like in the grenade slot, it is, I believe it's called the Swarm Grenade from Solar. I see Stylish Executioner over here as an aspect, and I'm not 100% sure what aspect this is. Winter's Shroud. Dodging slows nearby targets, which, like they said, they were looking to bring more underutilized things into Prismatic so that they could combine them together with other stuff. Winter's Shroud is definitely something that I would consider to be pretty underutilized. I think dodging only does 40 stacks of slow, so in theory you need to dodge like 3 times next to enemies to freeze them. Not particularly potent. So I like that they're kind of trying to figure out ways to bring underutilized stuff back into the game. As far as fragments go, obviously, most of these look like they're completely brand new. This looks like the Spark of Resistance, I believe it's called, where you get damage resistance when surrounded by enemy combatants. This looks like the Ember of Torches from the Solar subclass. I have no idea what this is. Now that I'm looking at it, though, these might not be new. I mean, they might be changed slightly, but these are definitely fragments that currently exist in the game. So if I come over here to the Arc subclass, Spark of Resistance right here, as you can see, that pretty much looks exactly like this. This is very clearly the Ember of Torches from the Solar subclass. So I wonder if they've changed them in any way, shape, or form, because they do have like pink hues to them. So that makes me wonder if they've, you know, kind of tweak them a little bit. I think these are actually all existing fragments. I have no idea what this one is, but it might not be because it doesn't exist in the game. It might just be because I've never used it before. Maybe it's an aspect or a fragment in the game rather that's not particularly good right now, so I've just never touched it. So the Prismatic Hunter is evasive and maneuverable, grappling around the battlefield and leaping to advantageous positions with Ascension. So I don't really know what Ascension is. Oh, is Ascension the new arc aspect? Is that what that's called? Or is this just like a general term? It's capitalized, so it makes me feel like it's a keyword. Their starting Prismatic build enables that maneuverability, with Winter's Shroud providing a handy debuff, that's Stylish Executioner, which now triggers by defeating an enemy afflicted by any subclass debuff. So that would include slow, that would include freeze, that would include sever, that would include suspend, that would include unravel. That's literally anything. That's actually ridiculous. You're going to be able to go invisible like by hitting literally anything in the game. That Scorch, everything always has a debuff on it, so that's kind of nuts. Providing easily accessible invisibility. Yeah, you're going to be invisible 24/7 when you're running this. You will be able to choose between the different light and dark abilities from each column below. So let's see here. Is this saying that I'm allowed to pair Storm's Edge with literally any combination of this? So I basically have a 6x5 grid where I can combine literally anything in the entire game. Yeah. For me, right out of the gate, like Combination Blow is, in my opinion, one of the strongest abilities in the entire game. You get to a ×3 stack and you're basically one-shotting anything. You could go like Combination Blow, maybe go Duskfield Grenade along with it, so you can Duskfield Grenade a pack of enemies, then you know they're slowed, you can run in, you can punch them, you'll kill them with Combination Blow, get a stack of Combination Blow, and because you've defeated a debuffed enemy, your Stylish Executioner will proc and make you invisible, so now you can almost do the Combination Blow Assassin's Cowl build without even having to have Assassin's Cowl, so you get all of the benefits from Combination Blow Assassin's Cowl without having to have Assassin's Cowl, so you can instead do like Combination Blow Liar's Handshake while still being able to go invisible from every single melee kill if you're running Dustfield Grenade. And wait a minute, this is ridiculous because hold on a second. I'm trying to draw this up in my head. So we have Winter's Shroud. So every time we dodge, enemies around us are going to get slowed. And if we're rocking Gambler's Dodge, we're also going to get our melee ability back. If we look at Combination Blow in-game, defeating targets with this ability also fully refills your class ability energy, which means you're going to have your Gambler's Dodge back to not only refund your Combination Blow, which is not a secret for those who understand Arc Assassin's Hunter, but it also means that your dodge is then going to again proc Winter's Shroud on the next pack of enemies, which debuffs them, which means, yeah, you are quite literally, without even having the Dustfield Grenade, we're not even talking about grenades yet, simply doing Winter's Shroud, Stylish Executioner, and Combination Blow and Gambler's Dodge gives you every single effect of Assassin's Cowl Arc Hunter without even having to have Assassin's Cowl, which means you've completely opened up a different exotic slot for whatever else you want, which is ridiculous. So what if you did something like Golden Gun, and since you don't need Assassin's Cowl anymore to go invis with every single melee kill because of the Stylus Executioner and the Winter Shroud slowing, you can then go ahead and do Celestial Nighthawk, so you can have a Golden Gun Celestial Nighthawk build that also has ×3 Combination Blow and makes you invisible on every single kill. And then on top of that, you can throw in the Grapple Grenade, so you have significantly increased maneuverability. And then, of course, like I said, you got the Winter Shroud and Stylish Executioner aspects. That is ridiculous. That's probably one of the first builds I'm going to do right out of the gate when this releases. That is crazy. Let's see what we got with the Prismatic Titan. So right away, I'm going to be looking for Consecration stuff. Where's Consecration? We got Consecration right here. Their starting build allows them to freeze targets with Diamond Lance, which can be created from any ability Final Blow, and wind up fully charged Thunderclaps to remove the threat from the fight in one fell swoop. I feel like Diamond Lance is not that amazing. I don't love Diamond Lance. I don't know if I'd go the Diamond Lance direction. Doesn't Knockout increase your melee damage? Upon breaking an enemy shield or dealing damage to an enemy below 30% HP, 100% increased basic melee damage, 25% increased charged melee damage. So you would basically increase your Consecration melee damage by 25%. I don't know if that's worth it compared to some of the other stuff that you might be able to do. I feel like Unbreakable doesn't look like it's super, super strong. Dranger's Lash is exceptional, so maybe we could go with like a Dranger's Lash combo somewhere, and I just don't feel like Diamond Lance is all that good. Spawns a Stasis Lance upon killing a combatant with stasis damage, which, like they said, will now be any ability kill. Stasis Lance is a pick-upable single-use weapon. I think we held up for 10 seconds. And throwing it just freezes enemies. I feel like that's not that great. The thing that's poking out to me immediately is Knockout with Consecration. And then I'm thinking maybe either Pulse Grenade or Shackle Grenade. And then you could go Frenzied Blade, and then you literally get 3 charges because you're running Frenzied Blade intrinsically, which means you can whip up and do Consecration 3 times in a row. Back to back to back. So I'm thinking like Frenzied Blade, you can kind of go whatever grenade you want. Shackle if you want to suspend enemies. Pulse Grenade if you want to. It's just a generally pretty good grenade in the damage department. But Frenzied Blade, Pulse Grenade, Knockout for 25% bonus powered melee damage, and then Consecration, which with 3 charges of Frenzied Blade is ridiculous. Tough to see, tough to recommend going anything other than Blade Fury. Although without Banner of War, I don't know if you'd really want Blade Fury. Maybe you'd be better off on Thunder Crash. I don't know. Titan seems like it's going to be a little bit more up in the air. The Frenzied Blade plus triple Consecration combo, that's looking good to me. Okay, let's take a peek at the Warlock. The Prismatic Warlock brings an army to bear, summoning a horde of Bleak Watchers. What the heck is a Helion? Is that the Solar Buddy? Is that what that is? Bleak Watchers, Helions, and Threadlings in the blink of an eye. Their starting build lets them lock down entire rooms with Bleak Watcher and Penumbral Blast, and their ability damage, including damage caused by shattering the frozen targets, kickstarts Feed the Void, granting grenade energy to start the cycle anew. Keep in mind, it's not necessarily Feed the Void that's granting grenade energy specifically. It's that Feed the Void is going to give you Devour. And Feed the Void's Devour is Enhanced Devour, which is more potent than regular Devour, so it's going to give you extra grenade energy. That's where that's coming from. So let's see what we got here. Right out the gate, tough. I love Phoenix Dive so much. I think Phoenix Dive is just incredibly powerful. So something that's sticking out to me immediately is that if you run Arcane Needle, you intrinsically get 3 charges of your melee ability, which means if you pick up the Lightning Surge aspect, then you can do the Lightning Surge little ball thing as 3 times in a row, back to back to back. Lightning Surge also jolts. I think you definitely want Feed the Void. The build I'm thinking right now is you would go Song of Flame or Needle Storm, along with Phoenix Dive to have a healing option. You would then go Arcane Needle for 3 melee charges, Lightning Surge to use those 3 melee charges, Feed the Void so that you get Devour, so you get full heals and tons of grenade energy on every single kill. And then for the grenade, you can go Cold Snap Grenade along with Osmiomancy gloves, so you get double cold snap grenades, and you're continuously getting grenade energy with Feed the Void, and refunding grenade energy every time your cold snaps hit something. So you're basically chucking a bunch of cold snaps, freezing everything, getting grenade energy back, and then lightning surging everything that's frozen, which procs Devour for every kill that you get, which also gives you a ton of grenade energy back. That's what I'm putting together in my head right now. Like I said, these are completely all 100% initial impressions. I'm probably going to come up with tons of other stuff once we get into the final shape and we start actually build testing with all of these, but that's kind of what I got going on in my head right now. While you'll start off with a fairly focused initial loadout, you'll quickly expand your toolset and possible combinations. As you continue through the Pale Heart of the Traveler, you'll uncover the remaining abilities, aspects, and fragments as mission rewards, as well as unlocking them through post-campaign quests and as collectibles hidden in the world. Our ultimate goal is that as you progress in your journey to save the Traveler and humanity, you're able to continually experiment with new buildcrafting options and find novel ways to tackle the challenges ahead of you. There's no currency to earn to unlock these new buildcrafting elements, thank God they learned from Strand. When you find a prismatic chest in the world or after a particularly tough battle, they're immediately granted and available for use, which is fantastic. So, Prismatic is far more than using familiar abilities and new combinations. We also wanted to create new gameplay to showcase the player's newfound mastery of the elements. Enter Transcendence, which is what we read earlier. It's the result of the collision of light and darkness that your Guardian can now control and enables the use of never-before-seen power. When you're using Prismatic, you'll notice a new bar below your super energy meter. This is the new indicator for the Transcendence light and darkness meters. So like I said before, when you deal light damage, I think that they had said, this blue bar fills up. When you deal darkness damage, this orange bar fills up. Once you have both of them filled up, the whole thing glows pink, and then you're ready to enter into Transcendence.
There's Prismatic underneath your super bar. There's a light meter and a dark meter. As you deal damage with either light damage or dark damage, it fills the respective sides of the meter. Once both sides are full, you get this new level of power that we're calling Transcendence.
That's what I remember. When you deal light aligned damage or apply light aligned buffs or debuffs, the light bar on the left fills, and then presumably darkness will make the darkness bar fill, which makes perfect sense. Kinetic damage fills both bars at a reduced rate, but that rate increases when either bar is filled. Okay, so that's actually kind of cool. I like that a lot, that kinetic kind of does both. While Transcendent, your melee and grenade energy are instantly refreshed and regenerate more quickly. Dealing damage with a grenade further increases your melee regeneration rate and vice versa. Your weapon damage is slightly increased, and you're okay. So when you're in Transcendence, you're just like ridiculously overpowered. You become God basically, which makes sense. I guess you're transcending, right? Our goal for Transcendence, both in terms of uptime and potency, is that it feels like a miniature super that's only readily available when your loadout and playstyle interweave light and darkness together in harmony. Being Transcendent also allows you to break the shields of special combatants in your way on your journey through the Pale Heart of the Traveler. These combatants have been bound by the Witness and are invulnerable to incoming damage otherwise. In addition to these boosts, while Transcendent, you'll also have a new grenade, one unique to each class, that deals with light and darkness damage. So with the Hunter, kind of what I alluded to previously, throw a device charged with stasis matter and solar energy that attaches to surfaces or targets and then erupts into a slowing storm. After a short duration, the device ignites, creating a deadly scorching cyclone. So basically, a spike grenade that starts off stasis and then ends with solar, for the most part. On Titan, you've got Electrified Snare, so throw an explosive device energized with strand matter and arc energy that detonates in a supercharged suspending burst. The suspended target takes heavy damage over time and chains jolting lightning to any nearby targets. And then with the Warlock, we've got Freezing Singularity, where you've got a Void and Stasis grenade. On impact, it deploys a miniature black hole orbited by halo of slowing ice. After a short duration, the black hole implodes, suppressing and dealing heavy damage to all nearby targets. Perfect. And then it looks like these are all the fragments. They're calling them facets. Let's talk about prismatic fragments. One of the challenges we identified early on was that a lot of the power from our single damage type subclasses comes from the network of many interconnected gameplay loops that the player can dip into when they focus their build crafting on a single element. But when the player's focus is split between multiple elements, we still need to provide enough opportunities for stacking powerful synergies, as well as providing value to the new Transcendence loot. So to solve that problem, they've increased most prismatic aspect fragment slot allotments to 3, with a few of our more potent options staying at 2 fragment slots. From day 1 of the final shape, you'll be able to find or earn a total of 21 fragments. Some are reimaginations or combinations of existing fragments, and some are brand new. So it looks like they're not telling us all 21, but they are giving us a good look at a lot of them. Faceted Balance, rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy. Rapidly defeating targets with dark damage grants grenade energy, which I feel it depends on the percentages, like how much energy you get, but that one could potentially be insanely good. With Faceted Bravery, defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your void weapons. Defeating targets with powered melee final blows grants unraveling rounds to your strand weapons. Will be decent if you're using void or strand weapons, but otherwise that's obviously not a particularly useful fragment if you're using other weapons. With the Fast of Dawn, powered melee hits against targets make you radiant, and powered melee final blows make both you and nearby allies radiant. That's probably the modified Ember of Torches that we saw up top previously. I'm thinking this might pair nicely with the Warlock build that we were talking about, Triple Arcane Needle with Lightning Surge. I think that could be pretty solid there. I think it's going to be give or take how good that is on certain builds. We'll see. With the Facet of Defiance, finishers create a detonation that either jolts, scorches, slows, severs, or makes targets volatile based on the damage type of your equipped super. I'm not sure how I feel about that one yet. For the Facet of Dominance, your Void Grenades weaken and Arc Grenades jolt targets. That one feels okay. It depends on the strength of the other ones, right? With the Fast of Generosity, defeating targets while Transcendent creates orbs of power for your allies. Curious if there is an internal cooldown on this. A lot of times when there's fragments that have this wording, it's like, you know, they create an orb of power, but then it's on like an 8-second cooldown before you can create another one. If there's literally no cooldown on it, this could be really, really good. If there is a cooldown on it, though, in between orb of power production while you're in Transcendence, maybe not quite as fantastic. For the Fast of Grace, damaging targets with kinetic weapons grants you bonus Transcendence energy. Defeating targets with your super grants you and nearby allies bonus Transcendence energy. I guess if you're doing a build where your primary weapon is a kinetic weapon, maybe it could work, but I can't help but feel like there's going to be some better ones. For the Facet of Hope, while you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly, entirely build dependent. On certain builds that can be insanely good, on other builds it's, you know, kind of useless. For the Facet of Justice, while Transcendent, your ability final blows explode. I don't think that's going to be very good, to be completely honest. That one's going to not see a whole lot of use, you know, if I had to predict. With the Faster Protection, while surrounded by enemies, you are more resistant to incoming damage, which I believe is literally the Spark of Resistance. I don't think they even changed it at all. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage, which, you know, this is a very good fragment. So I'm not saying that that means that this is going to be bad. It's just, you know, we already have it. You kind of know what to expect. You know what you're getting with that one. With the Facet of Purpose, picking up an Orb of Power grants either Amplified, Restoration, Frost Armor, Woven Mail, or Overshield based on the damage type of your equipped super. I think that could actually be very, very powerful, especially for the Woven Mail and Restoration side of things. If you're running a Solar super or a Strand super, I don't know what Frost Armor is. Is that something new that's coming? Or are they just basically renaming Stasis Overshield and calling it Frost Armor? They announced it a while ago, will be a new thing. Okay, so I just haven't been keeping up, so that's on me. Like I said, I think this could be good depending on what super you're running. It's entirely dependent on that. With the Facet of Ruin, this increases the size and damage of the burst when you shatter a Stasis Crystal or a frozen target, and increases the size of solar ignitions. I think this could be good depending on what build you're running. I could see this really nice with like a Bleak Watcher Warlock build or something like that. But again, entirely build dependent. Some of these look really, really nice. Some of them look a little more useless, but obviously I think this is 12 or 13 of the 21 that we will have available. So we still have a minimum of 8 to look forward to. But overall, I don't think I need to tell you guys that this is going to be absolutely game changing, that like these are going to be the strongest and most overpowered builds in the entire game. And I fully intend to make build video after build video after build video after build video after build video until my computer catches on fire, or until my eyelids get too heavy to hold open and I need to sleep for a little bit, after which I will go back to making build video after build video after build video. Big thumbs up to Bungie. I want to admire this art right here because this screen is absolutely beautiful. Really excited for Prismatic dropping in the final shape. Obviously, when it drops, I'm going to get straight on trying to get as many builds as I can out for you guys to enjoy. Especially before the day one raid comes out, that you can use in Onslaught, that you can use in all the new activities that come out in Final Shape, that you can use in the new raid. That's my goal. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, a little bit more non-traditional from my typical video, but since it is, kind of revolutionizing the build crafting aspect of the game, felt like it was important for me to talk about it and give my thoughts on it. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a great day.